Hello, my name is James Evans and I'm a General Manager with PGL Travel Ltd. I graduated Aberystwyth University in 2009 after studying history with French. My current role, I'm the General Manager of a chateau residential site that welcomes UK school groups in the north of France near Lille, where the school groups come to stay with us and visit the local area, visiting the World War I battlefields, perhaps Ypres salient over the border in Belgium, the Somme battlefields more towards the south, and maybe cultural excursions including visiting local markets, boulangerie, snail farms or chocolaterie, to discover more about French language and culture and hopefully get to try out their French language skills. So as manager of the chateau, I'm responsible for all areas across the site, whether that be health and safety, food safety, housekeeping, customer service, and the financial performance of the site against set objectives by our company. So my responsibilities are quite far-ranging, and therefore every single day is different. There'll be new challenges and things to adapt to. You have to be very proactive and reactive in the work that we do. We refer to it as operations, as it is the operation of the company on the ground there with the customers. So all manner of things happen and we have to react to them and ensure that there is no impact on the customer during their stay and that they themselves have the best day possible. For me, myself, in terms of my responsibilities and the challenges I have on a daily basis, it is ensuring that I'm there to support my staff in the decisions that they take and to help them along in their professional journey and in their development as well. So how did I get into the sector? I was still studying in Aberystwyth in 2009, a few months before I was due to finish, and I had a friend who had already graduated the year previously, and they were working for PGL as part of a ski season, so they were a customer service representative for ski groups going out to the Alps in France and in Switzerland, and they were doing translation of French for the customers, ensuring that their ski trip went as planned and as well as possible. And I really thought that sounds pretty awesome. I'm studying French now. I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with my degree, and I applied to PGL, and literally 5 days after my final exam in Aberystwyth, I was out in Paris working for PGL. So my journey with PGL started very much at the bottom of the ladder. It was never my intention when I started with PGL to become a manager and to be the manager of a chateau and of a residential site having so many customers. When I first started, I was a tour leader. So literally that time period after I left university, I had a training period, and then within a few weeks I was a tour leader, literally a customer service representative, where I would welcome the guests to the chateau where I was working. I would be the main point of contact with the teachers and the party leaders of that group throughout the entire stay. If they had any issues, they came to myself. I would go through the itinerary with them, what they wanted to get out of their stay, and to try and maximise the opportunity whilst they would be staying with us, so that they had the best stay possible. And also, which I suppose was the main part for me, was as a tour leader, I would take groups out to visit excursion locations in and around the area, outside of Paris and inside Paris. So I had the opportunity to see so many different places and places of interest, all the big tourist attractions around Paris, from the Eiffel Tower to the Sacré-Cœur, the Louvre, the Arc de Triomphe, Stade de France, everything, Disney, which was just fantastic. So even myself, I got the chance to broaden my horizons and see new things, whilst the children in these school groups were as well. This might have been the first time they were in Paris, and it might have been the last time they've been since. And it was just fantastic to see them really enjoying themselves and taking everything in and learning so much information about Paris and about French life. So I've obviously stayed with the company for 11 years now. My original plan was to go and do it as part of seasonal work, and then perhaps to go and study a master's in interpretation and translation. But after doing one season with them, it really dawned on me how important the work that we were doing in the outdoor education sector and the importance of school trips. I really took on board the role that I was playing within that, in creating a safe environment for people when they were coming to stay with us, and supporting teachers as much as possible, as it can be a very stressful experience going abroad with 60 children, or in some cases even more than that. But when I realised how important what we were doing was, I decided against going down the route of a master's and decided to work my way up in management. And within 2 years, I was the assistant manager of the chateau where I'm working currently now. And for the last 8 years, I've been the manager of the site. The other positive things for me, whilst I've been working within this industry in the last 11 years, is the exposure to so many different challenging situations and things that I never thought I would have to deal with, some that I probably don't ever want to deal with again. But it's really enhanced my professional portfolio and my experiences, and has helped really help myself develop as a person, personally and professionally, throughout all these experiences. New things that I've learned, things I've learned how to do as a manager, whether that comes from managing a multicultural team of French nationals and British nationals, and maybe the cultural differences that there can be within that, to helping in emergency situations when somebody needs to go to hospital or have emergency treatment, or perhaps liaising with local authorities as the gendarmerie or the police. All these sorts of experiences over the last 11 years has really helped myself develop, and then also the experiences I've had from working for PGL. I have taken part in so many different courses, and have so many qualifications now to my name, from health and safety to food safety to I have an ILM level 5 in management, as well as 8 years experience of management now. Another one would be in first aid. I've had the opportunity to do so much of that, and I'm so thankful to PGL for having those opportunities, as I've been able to really push my boundaries and learn so much more. So any advice that I would give to students now applying for work in general, and there would be 3 things in particular that stand out for me, and that is perfecting your CV. Your CV really needs to be tailor-made to the job that you're applying for. Quite often when you take a job description, you want to match things that are in that job description and certain words and phrases, and put it into your CV, so that when a recruiter is looking at it, they're going to be seeing immediately that you have those skills that they're looking for, and it makes it so much easier for them to find that. If you list everything on your CV in terms of responsibilities and things you've done in the past, if you want to move into HR, for example, they're not going to be interested if you have 3 years experience in housekeeping, for example. You really need to make it tailor-made to what you're applying for. So in the end, you might end up having 10 different versions of your CV that can be used in applying for different things. Just before we move on to the other aspects, in regards to a CV, definitely condensing it and keeping it under 2 pages, especially if you give out printed copies. Always try and make sure that it fits onto either one page, which is front and back, or on 2 pieces of paper, but on no more than that. Recruiters will be looking at long CVs on multiple pieces of paper. I can tell you straight away they'll be putting that in a bin. But then also with CVs, ask other people for help. If people offer it, take them up on it. The more people you have looking at your CV and looking at it in a way to help develop it, even though sometimes having criticism on things is tough to have, but if that means in the end of the day that you get the right job that you're applying for and the thing that you want, then why not? The second thing I had on the list was speaking to people. If you're ever looking at applying for something, speak to as many people as possible that you know who work in that industry, and maybe people who already work within that company. They might be able to help you get a foot in the door. It might be that they give you advice that when it comes to before even writing your application or going into an interview, they will be able to give you inside information which will be critical to helping you be successful in your application. But trying to understand as much as you can before applying for something, and even speaking to people on the phone or in person, going in and speaking to someone about what it is like working for that company, or even applying for a job. One of the jobs I've had since university, I have worked for PGL, but I also did Christmas work for Next, and I got my job by going in with a CV in hand, speaking to a floor manager. They asked me one question back about the importance of customer service, and the reply I gave must have been enough, as they asked me there and then when could I start. But that story can be replicated across the world where people have done that, and don't be afraid to take a chance to go in and try and sell yourself. So the last thing I was going to say about applying for jobs in general, I said a CV, speaking to people, and the last thing is LinkedIn. It is so important in the digital age right now to have your name out there, and to, I suppose, have a digital footprint. But it is very important to develop your LinkedIn and to showcase yourself out there, as that's what some recruiters will be looking for. They'll be able to check you out before they even invite you to an interview, or even perhaps they'll look into your LinkedIn and ask you questions on your LinkedIn when you go for an interview. So if you can sell yourself as much as possible by getting yourself out there and having that online presence, then it'll really be a big step forward to getting yourself out there. A couple more questions to answer that have been put forward to me here is how should students maximise their time at university? From personal experience, I would just say try things, make the most of the time you have. Join societies, join sport teams, try and push your boundaries, try and learn as many new things as you can during this time period, and also make the most of it. Because after this time is finished in university, you might consider to stay on and study a master's, PhD. I don't know, but definitely make the most of it in the environment that you are, and enjoy yourself. Definitely, especially in Aberystwyth, because it's a fantastic place to study. Any advice I would give myself studying in university, if I could go back and tell myself? Dysgu Cymraeg, learn Welsh. Now, I might not that might not call out to all of you, and some of you might not even like languages, but unfortunately myself, as a language graduate, I really regret not making that opportunity, make the most of that opportunity in Aberystwyth, as it's really a hotbed for language and culture of Wales. I'm from South Wales myself, but I'm not really from a strong Welsh speaking area, and I regret perhaps not trying more with Welsh to try and learn it in Aberystwyth, as it's a fantastic place to really do that. So one thing I would suggest is to really make the most of that if ever you're interested in learning our fantastic language. One of my best memories of life in university would be as being part of the university football club. That was really an integral part of my time whilst I was in university. It helped me make new friends, help me travel as well. I got to see different parts of Wales as we played in the university league on Wednesdays, and the local area as well. We played in the local leagues and ended up going as far north as places as Dolgellau, down at Carmarthen, Lampeter, all over the place. But it was a fantastic time and really helped with the integration into university life, meeting new people, and making friends for life as well. Because there's still, even 11 years on now, I still have a lot of close friends and people that I stay in touch with from my university days. So the last question is all about my future plans, and as some of you probably twigged earlier on in this, I work within the hospitality and education sectors, and school travel abroad. And obviously with the current situation because of COVID, school trips aren't happening. So I've been on furlough for the last 6 months, and I suppose future plans is closely monitoring the situation for changes within the educational and activity trips for schools, whether that be in the UK or abroad, and being ready for when they come back, because like all things, it will come back in the future. It's just a case of being patient right now, and also making the most of this time, as it's a strange time ahead of us at the moment. And I know a lot of you there have been going through this, perhaps when the situation happened in March, and it's been tough for everyone. But making the most of this time without putting pressure on ourselves, and furthering ourselves professionally and personally, and that's something that I've done during this time period and will continue to do. Learning new skills through online courses and webinars, perhaps interacting with people through LinkedIn, and furthering, I suppose, my professional portfolio there is really the plan moving forward. So it's a difficult time. It's a difficult time for everyone right now, but adapting to the current situation, I think, is key, and using this time positively for change and bettering ourselves, ready for when things come back in the future. So lastly, just want to say thank you all very much for listening, and wish you all the best for the rest of your studies. And if anyone feels a need to reach out and wants to discuss things any more, perhaps about the education and activity sectors and working for PGL, then please just send me an invite on LinkedIn. Or if you'd like any advice about CVs and applying for jobs, then I'm there to help other people as much as I can. All the best. Take care.